Whether you're an educator, a creator, or really anyone trying to teach something complex, we all run into the same exact challenge. How do we make information actually stick? How do we make learning not just effective, but, well, unforgettable? Today, we're going to unpack the blueprint for doing exactly that.
So imagine this is your source material. You've got this job, right? You need to teach the topic of enzymes for a huge exam like the CUET. And you're staring at this wall of text. It's packed with definitions and mechanisms and models. And yeah, it's accurate, it's detailed, but let's be real. It's not exactly grabbing your attention, is it?
So the real goal, the mission, is to turn that dense, kind of boring text into something dynamic, a lesson with super high retention, one that doesn't just get students the marks they need, but actually stays with them. And the key is knowing there's a formula for it. So in this explainer, we're going to walk through that exact formula, step by step.
Okay, so here's the game plan. We'll start by outlining the blueprint itself. Then we'll see it in action, from creating a really powerful hook and explaining the core ideas, all the way to making sure they remember it and finishing strong with a solid recap. Let's get right into it. So here it is. At the very core of our method is this powerful 11-step formula. I want you to think of this as your architectural blueprint for building any piece of educational content. Doesn't matter if it's a YouTube video or a lecture in a classroom. It gives you structure, it gives you flow, and most importantly, it's designed for maximum retention. The first 6 steps are all about building a rock-solid foundation. You start with a powerful hook. You immediately tell them why this topic matters for their exam. And then you introduce and explain the core concepts. But you don't stop there. You then highlight the most important features and you detail its real-world significance and impact. This is where you really lay the groundwork for deep understanding. But look, understanding is only half the battle, right? The second part of the blueprint is what turns that understanding into true mastery. This is where we make sure the information actually sticks. We're talking memory tricks, testing their knowledge with practice questions, proactively tackling common errors, and then locking it all in with a super fast revision and an ending that gets them involved. All right, let's put this blueprint into action. It all starts with step 1, the hook. You have maybe 15 to 30 seconds to convince a student that this lesson is worth their time, especially when they're stressed out and just overwhelmed with exam prep. Just look at the transformation here. On the left, you've got the standard, dry textbook definition. It's correct, sure, but it doesn't make you want to do anything. Now look at the right. The scripted hook speaks directly to the student's pain point, struggling. It offers a clear benefit, guaranteed marks, and it creates urgency. It's an invitation, not just a lecture. So once you have their attention, you move into the core explanation. Now, the goal here isn't to just read the source material out loud. No way. It's to take it apart, find the story inside it, and present it in a way that's logical and just really easy to digest. This slide just says it all. The raw source describes a 3-step mechanism. The scripted output, it turns that into a simple 3-act story: the meetup, the transformation, and the release. Now, we're not dumbing down the content, we're making it memorable. Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools we have for retention. And right at the heart of that story is this single crucial formula. E for enzyme plus S for substrate that leads to the enzyme-substrate complex, which then becomes the enzyme product complex, and finally it releases the enzyme in the product. That's the entire catalytic cycle in one line. For an exam, this is pure gold. Okay, so the student understands the concept. Great. But are they going to remember it under exam pressure a month from now? That's where the next phase of our blueprint comes in. We're moving from just passive understanding to active recall. Just look at this comparison. The source gives us these very technical definitions. They're important, but they're hard to remember. The scripted output transforms these models into simple, powerful analogies. Lock and key is a rigid fit. Easy. Induced fit is like a friendly hug. It adjusts. The brain just latches onto these images, and it makes recalling them almost effortless. All right, let's move to something that's totally non-negotiable for exam prep: practice. We have to create questions that mimic the format and the difficulty of the actual test. This does 2 things. 1, it solidifies the student's knowledge, and 2, just as importantly, it builds their confidence. Here's a perfect example. We can take a simple table and turn it into a match the following question. So go ahead, pause here and give it a try. Okay, you got it. Digestion matches with amylase, DNA replication is DNA polymerase, and detoxification is catalase. Simple, direct, and really effective practice. And here's another style, the classic multiple choice question. Looking at the slide, which one is not a primary factor affecting enzyme activity? Is it A, B, C, or D? The answer is C, product concentration. And why? Because our source material specifically called out temperature, pH, substrate concentration, and inhibitors as the key factors. This question really checks if the student was paying close attention. Now, this next step is absolutely crucial. A great teacher doesn't just explain what's right, they anticipate what could go wrong. By listing out these common pitfalls, like confusing denaturation at high temperatures or forgetting that some enzymes are actually RNA, we help students avoid losing easy marks on the exam. We are in the home stretch now. The student has been hooked, they've learned the concepts, they've practiced. The final steps of the blueprint are all about locking in that learning and encouraging them to keep going on the journey. Step 10 is the rapid-fire revision. This is the if you forget everything else, just remember this slide. It boils the entire topic down to the absolute most essential high-yield facts, perfect for a quick look right before walking into that exam hall. And finally, the engagement ending. Learning shouldn't happen in a vacuum. A great lesson ends with a call to action. Asking something like, "How did you do?" Comment your score below encourages them to self-assess. And a line like, "If you're ready to become a CUET champion," gives them an identity to aspire to, which makes that call to subscribe feel natural and totally value-driven. And here's the most important point of all. That entire transformation, from that dense block of text to an engaging lesson that gets results, is all powered by this single, repeatable 11-step blueprint. It's a system, not a secret. And that brings us to the end. We've shown you the blueprint. We've walked through exactly how to apply it. So now, the only question left is, what complex topic are you going to take on and transform next? The formula is all yours.